Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. Today we're chatting about gaming news consolidated. This is May 18th through the 24th, and we got some kind of casual stuff this week, but we also got some bigger stuff too. So we're going to be updating quite a few things on some games. We're going to be talking a little bit about the next Lord of the Rings movie, which I am not excited about. We're going to be talking about some stuff too over at Warzone and some mobile games actually shutting down, which, hey, live service is supposed to be the big thing, right? Where's all the money? But yeah, they're not making enough. We're also going to have an update too with Bungie and Marathon here, and an Oblivion update too for Oblivion Remaster. And then we're going to be talking about $80 games, too. Good gravy. And then also we found out something pretty interesting about SteamOS that is actually launching. I think it's launching today or it launched yesterday. And there's some other stuff, too. So you can always sub all that jazz, but hey, let's go ahead and get into the news. So Dead by Daylight is adding a nightmare thing again to the game. They always do this, right? They always add some new content, and I want you to think a little bit for what do you think the nightmarish scenario or IP could be, or the horror IP. And I highly doubt. I was super surprised by this too, but yeah, it's the next Assassin's Creed Shadows. And it's not Assassin's Creed, it is Assassin's Creed Shadows specifically. Now, this is really, really weird. It sounds like maybe Ubisoft is a little desperate. If their own IP was doing great, they wouldn't be basically licensing out their own IP to make some more money. So, and we know that far from it, Assassin's Creed Shadows has actually made enough to cover um, their own costs plus all of the other failures that they've had for the last couple of years, or at least dating back all the way to Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which I do think Avatar did actually make enough money, but it wasn't very much profit at all. And Skull and Bones is a mess. That game has been incredibly expensive, let alone to Shadows actually sold pretty well, even on the PC. Or not Shadows, but Mirage, excuse me. That one actually sold pretty well, but they shut down X Defiant. I mean, Star Wars Outlaws didn't do well. So yeah, there's a lot of money. There's tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions on the table. Probably hundreds of millions that actually needs to be made back up. And yeah, Shadows certainly didn't do that. So they're probably just looking to expound on anything that they possibly can. So yeah, taking a look at some numbers here, looking at profitability. Valhalla was launched in 2020 and was roughly about $100 million to make, plus $35 million in marketing costs. And then with the raising costs of development, let's say it would cost like $150 to make, probably. And then we know basically or let's say Shadows actually was $150 million to make. Well, there was also a 4-month delay, which was estimated at about $28 million for 4 months, because that was like overtime development to polish the game, which I think that did show. It did actually run pretty well for how good it was. But yeah, if you're interested, you can watch my review on the channel. But Shadows 2 is also very heavily marketed. I mean, I was seeing it even 3 weeks after launch, well into April, maybe even at the end of the month. And now they're having it be a part of Dead by Daylight. So yeah, marketing was maybe another $50 million. I mean, this was really, really expensive. So we're looking at about 225 million to actually be profitable. So we know that Shadows sold. This is only the latest data, which again is a couple of months old. It's not perfect, but this is just what we have. So we know that they've sold 2 million units. So at $70, this is $140 million. Okay, that's a good start. We also know that there was over 1 million people actually on Ubisoft Plus. And let's say they paid for Ubisoft Plus for a couple of months just to be generous. That would be another $36 million. So we're looking at a total of $176 million. This is not including special editions, microtransactions, the collector's edition, all of that type of stuff. And also, too, Shadows will also continue to sell as it gets cheaper. So, and if they continue to also make more content for the game, which already looks like they made all of the content they're planning on. We also know that there are some like DLCs that are coming, some story DLCs. If you pre-ordered the game, you're actually getting that one for free, which is going to cut into their sales a little bit. But again, they wanted to try to get those pre-orders up. But we do know that the pre-orders were not as quite as high as what Assassin's Creed Odyssey was, which was by the same developer or by the same studio. So yeah, not quite as much. I think there was like 350 million or something that were actually pre-order, or was not two. Excuse me, I'm speaking out of turn. Not 350,000. I think it was 250,000. This one I didn't actually write down, but yeah, we know that the pre-order number was just below what Odyssey was, which again was not quite exactly what they wanted. They are saying, of course, Ubisoft is saying that Shadows did actually meet expectations, that it is actually selling pretty well. But again, 2 million copies. Let's say if it's even 4 million copies, they're just barely making it profitable after everything else. But that's also just selling the game at $70. But I've already seen too that Assassin's Creed Shadows also had sales on the store already. So it's like we've barely had the game out. It was like 10% off or something like that. It wasn't very much, but the fact that there's already discounts already is not very good. And we usually see that too with Ubisoft games. Generally speaking, when they come out, we got to wait, a month to 3 months, and like the game's on sale. Because again, it's not selling. You never lower the price unless you have to get sales. So anytime you see a discount on something, it's not selling as good as it used to, and they need to be able to sell it. So yeah, I'll continue to monitor and keep an eye out what Shadows is doing, but some channels and some gaming news articles too are saying that like Shadows is a success, that it's doing really, really well, but I don't think it's going to get anywhere near Valhalla, which was $1 billion. But again, that was a wonderful time too, because people were generally forced to stay at home. There was a lot of people out of work. There was also a lot of extra money floating around, so they had time and money, and it was an Assassin's Creed game. So yeah, a lot of people went out and bought it. Will they ever make another $1 billion on an Assassin's Creed game? Probably not. Maybe given enough inflation, if the studio can stay alive long enough. Excuse me. I think gaming news is going to be a little rough today, but that's all right. But yeah, I'll continue to keep track of Shadows, whatever I can see. But man, I don't know. It's just shocking to me that it's not the great success that they're saying. I also think there's no way that they were expecting it to save Ubisoft. Otherwise, why would they make the subsidiary with Far Cry, Rainbow Six, and Assassin's Creed to basically be put into a new studio with an injection from Tencent of $1.25 billion, which is just a ton of money. And, they're able to pay off all of their debt, which is roughly 800 million, and then still have some money left over to actually continue to develop games, which is great. I mean, you want several hundred million to actually make your games because, yeah, game development is incredibly expensive. Generally, it costs 200 million for a AAA game, sometimes more. Like Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2 was 315 million, which is just insane. Concord was 400 million. Estimates for Skull and Bones, with all of the years in development and issues, was around 600 million. Cyberpunk 2077, including the DLC and the returns and the time that they spent actually fixing the game, was again over $600 million. GTA is looking at like probably around $1.5 billion to actually make the game, which again is just crazy. So yeah, game development is getting very, very expensive. But, I don't want to pay $80 a game either, and we're going to get into that later into the show. Let's go ahead and talk about Star Citizen. Well, it's totally hit a new low. So Star Citizen is like a big space sim kind of a deal. Very realistic. I remember when it was coming out in college, which was like, we're talking like 12 years ago now, 13 years ago. It's quite old. But they're actually releasing a ship early. The ship is $15,000. Yeah, this is not a game for you and me, by the way. Um, if you want to grind for the ship, you can spend 150 hours roughly to actually grind for it. But yeah, the ship is really made for like bigger clans or groups of friends or whatever that want to play regularly. People that are going to play this game all the time. Yeah, for $15,000 ship, good gal, that's crazy. But yeah, roughly it has a dozen positions. You can buy blades, though, to actually improve aspects of your ship, or even to have basically NPC AI to run your positions on that ship. The thing that's disgusting is that each blade actually costs $15 to $35 each. And then, but these are basically microtransactions, as if the ships weren't enough, which those are more macro transactions because they're huge. $15,000 for a ship, that's insane. And but yeah, these blades were initially just supposed to be for specific ships, and now the blades are actually going to be for all ships now at this point. And this is really disgusting because this is turning into a pay to win. And some people are saying, no, it's not pay to win, because it helps you, but it doesn't guarantee a win. And it's just like, well, it's the same with some of the skins on Call of Duty, or, that they've taken out of the game by now, or some of the weapons, that's why they have rebalancing all the time, or being able to, yeah, again, it's basically having an advantage over the other players in the game, and that's what pay to win is. Pay to win means that you put money in and you have an advantage over everyone else. Maybe you can unlock stuff faster. Maybe you can level up things faster. Maybe you can dish out more power or damage, be able to heal yourself faster, all sorts of stuff, be able to blend into your environment. That's what pay to win is. When someone else doesn't have access, that doesn't pay the money, and you do, and you have those advantages. And yeah, they do give you an edge, whether small or not. That is still pay to win. So yeah, that shouldn't even be a debate, but apparently it is. And so yeah, with all of these things, like these community is really upset with this blade system. Because yeah, now $15 to $35, good gravy. People aren't even going to think about that kind of money. For the majority of the people, probably, if a lot of them have already spent a ton of money already, you know, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands on ships. Now, of course, some casuals still probably play this. Some people like you and I probably grind for stuff and they enjoy it, But again, when your ship blows up and you don't have insurance in the game for it, then you got to take time to actually grind for that all over again. Now, we've talked about Star Citizen before, the developers and the publisher. Again, they've been making this game for quite some time. But again, we're looking at their financials, and at this point, just using some simple math, they have actually made $800 million, and now they have spent $800 million. And so they're broke at this point. Like, they don't have any money. And I'm curious, are they going to be going into debt now? Because now it's like, okay, you guys are literally having a game that you're still developing for. We still don't have Squadron 42, which is now looking like instead of 23 or 24 or even 25, looks like now 2026. And then it's like, is it even going to come out in 2026? And how buggy is it going to be and all of this stuff? And apparently some of this has actually been completed for quite some time, but they still have not released it for whatever reason. Apparently it's not ready or whatever's going on. But yeah, things can't be going good within the studio for actually developing this game. Because, yeah, we still don't have Squadron 42. The other thing that's insane is the game itself is still not even a released game. We don't have a 1.0 for the game, which is crazy. Like, that shouldn't even be a thing at this point. We're talking about a 12, 13-year-old game and we haven't released it. Why not? Like, yeah, the mismanagement of this is insane, especially when we've already spent $800 million. Now, I haven't played the game myself, and I won't play the game. I would rather play EVE Online. But this is crazy. This is crazy. How can you spend almost $1 billion, which we're probably going to get there before everything completely collapses, because they'll probably just go into debt now at this point. But it's like, how can you get there without actually releasing a game? Without releasing DLC that you've been touting for years now. Squadron 42. Like, it's I don't even get it. I don't even get it. They've also already closed positions at their offices and their headquarters. Again, trying to save money. And man, I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, this is literally buckling under its own weight. And I think anybody that is looking from the outside, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to invest in this. I don't want to give you any money because I'm not going to get my money back. And they actually release their financials and their costs. This is actually a good way. I didn't pull this up, but this is actually a good way to see how much development costs actually cost and server costs too. But taking a look at their expenses, it is exponential. Like every year or every quarter, or whatever, it is exponential on what they're actually spending, and that's with a lot of companies right now. So yeah, that's why they seem greedy. And in some cases, absolutely they are. But again, these companies, they need to be efficient, and that's why we're having layoffs. Because if you can do the same amount of work with less people and some AI and some other stuff, or with better talent, or all of the above, you're going to do that. So there is no way we get out of this gaming generation without more layoffs, without studio closures, without use of AI, all of that stuff, because what it costs now is just insane. And this is why, too, I guess I can go on a side tangent here of why I don't really like live service, because eventually it fails. I mean, we even take a look at Destiny, right? Wonderful IP. Okay, a lot of people have enjoyed it. It was kind of buggy, kind of had some messes, and those were issues and problems that they fixed in Destiny 1 a lot of the time. But, like, the game was fun, okay? It was a great way to band together, to meet some randoms. You could see people in the world. You could literally go to the hub at the wall and just sit on the logo, and other people would just come in, and eventually, fairly quickly, you could get a whole team, and you all go out there and do the raid and stuff, or go do strikes. Like, it wasn't very hard to actually do that, but the the community started changing, and also the company started changing too on how they monetize stuff, and then they couldn't actually start putting out promised content, started also taking some away, and then also charging a heck of a lot more, and then also added like the Eververse store and all of that other kind of stuff, and eventually it just collapsed in on itself, right? I mean, year over year they lost 43% of their gaming revenue for the game, and now all of their hopes are on Marathon. So good luck, Budgie. We'll talk about that too shortly. But yeah, this is just getting frustrating because, again, Star Citizen has been treated like a live service game. There's always new ships, there's always new bundles, there's always new things to add and build and procure and grind for and all of this stuff. But it's like, we don't even have a released game. Now, there are some live service games, again, that are great. But the reason I really hate live service personally is that the game is designed around keeping you playing. It's not about fun. It's not about bonding. It's not about the experience. It's about keeping you playing so that you buy stuff in the store. That's the whole point. That's the gameplay loop. And that's not a video game. Okay? That is a digital shopping experience that that you pay money for. Just to have access, right? In most cases. Unless it's like free to play or something like that, then that's something else. But yeah, I really think Star Citizen is just going to collapse because here they'll go into debt if they're not already. They'll keep taking on debt, and then they're not going to be able to even pay their debt. And I wonder too, like, they're making the blade system. They're probably going to continue to think of whatever they can to actually get money in through the door, but whatever player base they have, whatever they have left, it's not like new people are going to jump in. So they got to keep milking the people that are a part of the game already, part of the player base, and they're not going to see any growth there. And then if they keep screwing over the players they do have, well, they're going to lose those too. So yeah, eventually this does not just end well, work out well. And yeah, this is going to be a supernova going off. It'll be pretty amazing. Basically, $1 billion game. And oh my word, look at that big boom over there. And that is that, we thought Suicide Squad was big, or Concord, but holy frick! I mean, Star Citizen is going to be pretty insane to see. So a game we probably forgotten about, Marvel 1943, Rise of the Hydra. So we got to see like Captain America and Black Panther in this, and this was a cinematic that we got to see like a couple of years ago. But it has been confirmed now. It is not coming in 2025. We probably could assume that because, again, we haven't seen anything and it's already the end of May. So it's been delayed through 2026. But yeah, we honestly have not heard a word at all. So yeah, coming in 2026, it's not surprising. This is actually developed by Skydance News Media, and it does look pretty good in the trailer. But again, we don't have any gameplay. We don't have anything like that. Which again, that's also what frustrates me with GTA 6. Is again the cutscenes can look amazing. Okay, and apparently half of the game was cutscenes, half of the game was actual gameplay. But again, I have a hard time believing that because I'm not actually running around like a player, right? We're not seeing any of that. It looks like we're just seeing cutscenes, really. And I'm sure it'll look good, but I don't know. Something just seems kind of iffy there. But yeah, Marvel 1943 is supposed to release in 26 sometime. And again, I wonder where they're going to put it because we had all of these companies, all of these publishers are like, well, we don't want to be in the way of GTA 6. And so, I mean, frick, everybody that's releasing this year, good, but everyone that's delaying to next year, frick. I mean, especially the big ones. They want to stay away from GTA 6 as much as possible because they want their $80 games. And, that's pretty disgusting. So, yeah, 2026. So, Gollum is getting a movie. Now, we talked about this, I think, last year a little word of it, and we know a little bit more this time. So, we know that it's actually coming in 2027. And what is hilarious, the reason why I'm bringing this up is that it's going to parallel some of the game. Now, whether that's intentional or not, I'm not entirely sure, but the official title is, quote, The Hunt for Gollum, and it's going to explore Gollum's backstory, his inner conflict, just like the game did some, and basically it'll be a quest to actually find and capture Gollum. So this is going to take place, like, before the Fellowship of the Ring, and, yeah, that'll be, as far as I understand, but yeah, this will be pretty interesting. So I don't know if we're going to see any cameos. I don't know if we're going to see, I would imagine not, because again, Lord of the Rings movies have been gone for a long time, and none of those actors, as far as I know, have really been in anything recently. It's all Pedro Pascal at this point. But yeah, that could be interesting. I don't want to see it. I'm not excited for this. Gosh, I mean, just anybody I think could be actually more interesting at this point. Um, the original actor is going to be playing Gollum, so that's great. But yeah, again, I'm just not interested in the movie. It's going to be directed by him too. I forget his name, but yeah, it's going to be directed by him too, or he's going to be like a co-director. But yeah, though, again, 2027, we got a long ways to wait. Let's go ahead and talk about Civilization 7. Well, it is losing its players. Again, they had some issues with some user interface. There were some bugs in the game. There are also some things that didn't really look great. And what we're seeing now is that there's actually more players playing Civilization 5 and 6. So let's actually take a look at the Steam charts because this is kind of hilarious. So this is Steam. This is Steam 7. No, it's not. This is Civilization 7. And right now, this is their all-time peak. This is a whole chart, actually, but you can see it looks like a live service game, which maybe it kind of is. I mean, again, there's some DLCs and stuff, but generally, this is actually supposed to be a full game. Usually, people kind of play it, and then when they get done with it, it then kind of tends to fall off. But again, this is from beginning of February to the end of February. This is the end of February right here, but like that's considerable. So yeah, and people are like not coming back. Now, if you wanted to play Civilizations, well, you can go back and play the old ones, which looks like what they're doing. So 14,000 right here compared to just under 8, and then also 37,000 playing Civilization 6. So, and again, the peaks are also higher too. So the peak for this one was 85,000, 91,000 for number 5, and 162,000 for number 6. And again, this is actually pretty steady, and overall it's actually been going up over time, which is pretty crazy. This has been steady for the most part, okay, for the last almost couple of years, pretty steady. But this does not look good. I mean, you don't want to be steady at like 5,000 players for your new game because no one's going to buy your stuff. No one's going to keep investing in the game. They're just going to go back and play the old ones. And we've seen this tactic before too, with like when there's another game coming, they'll stop supporting the old one. They'll even shut the servers off sometime, just like Ark, which was disgusting. But yeah, a lot of people actually seem to be going back, and I think that's actually kind of what we're seeing here. So again, this has been since February. If we take a look at number 7, actually February's dropped off a lot too already. So maybe people are just quitting. Because yeah, there's another pretty big drop off January, March right there. Burnt. That's actually interesting. I didn't notice that before. So maybe Civ is just a dying game. That's not good. Because yeah, that's pretty considerable. 80 to 50,000. It's a big drop. We're also looking at 26 to 20. Pretty big drop. And then this, just nobody's playing it. So maybe people are playing other stuff. What else came out? February, March. I'm trying to think. We had Doom recently. That would be in May. I don't know. Leave it down in the comments. What do you think's going on? Clearly, the trend is there. Because, yeah, we're talking like 90% drop off. More than 90%. That's really bad. But yeah, people are sticking steady, generally speaking. You know, there's definitely some fall off there. But yeah, it seems like something's come up. But yeah, the trough has been getting higher and higher and higher for quite a few years now with Civilization 6. But yeah, it seems like this is just generally what people are playing. And, man, I mean, when you bought your game at launch, and this is something we keep talking about too at the channel. I mean, I've been frustrated with it since like mid 2015. Because I was getting frustrated with how games were launching and how games just actually seemed worse. And again, I understand like delays can be good, but they haven't been very great either in a lot of cases. And, you know, I don't feel like I should have my hopes up for something that has consistently showed me that it fails, that it goes the way I don't want it to go. I'm not wishing it into existence. But again, if the game is delayed and delayed, yeah, it's probably not going to be working out very great, okay? And I don't want to blow my money, nor do I want any of you to blow your money and waste your money on stuff. We all work for our money, right? We work hard for it. And yeah, to waste your money sucks, especially with games being so expensive. The business model of DLC and microtransactions, subscription services now for some games, which is just crazy. And then the value that we're getting at launch, even with early access, it's like, man, you're buying the worst version of the game. What for? Like, that's nuts. I guess if you really like it, hey, go for it. It's your money, no worries. But like the quality of games have gotten really bad, and even Ubisoft have said this with, you know, Star Wars Outlaws. You know, I reviewed that game myself, and it's just like, man, this is not the type of game that I want. Like this is frustrating. The AI is bad. There's glitches. I can force a crash by looking through my scope or my binoculars every freaking time. They had a game progression bug on PlayStation for launch. So people lost anywhere from 6 to 10 hours of progress, which was disgusting. And again, there were some aspects of the game that were really cool, but just like, oh my gosh, like it was so frustrating. And then Ubisoft's like, yeah, I guess, you know, people expect the game to work at launch. Frick yeah, we do. What the hell are you talking about? Are you serious? Yeah, of course we expect it to launch. And see, companies have gotten to the point, including, in my opinion, the good ones, is that all of them have gotten to a point now where it's like, we can fix it at launch. No. That has got to stop, folks, because now we're not even getting, like, Star Citizen or some other games that aren't even finished. Oh, yeah, we'll release all that later. Like, I think Space Marine 2, I think everything should have launched all at once. Not in pieces. Because, again, by the time you're done playing 10 hours, you've basically played the whole game. there's not really too much there. 15 hours is stretching it a lot, but yeah, we're finally getting like our last horde mode or whatever, or the last few modes for Space Marine 2. But again, there's other games that have come out this year, and it's like, are people really still playing it? I don't know. Actually, yeah, I'd be kind of curious. We'll just do the base game. Yeah, there's still 10,000 in the game. That's actually pretty dang good. The thing, though, is, again, here is launch. This is launch. I mean, that's crazy. 225,000. They definitely made their money, right? That's not the issue here. But like the drop off just in a few months has really fallen off. And like there was a little blip there. People were like, woo, player count doubled, right? Pretty excited. And then player count more than doubled again for a little bit. So, but like the new modes and stuff, it brought back some players, but it didn't bring back the majority. And that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. So yeah, it'd be nice for games to actually be launched in whole, to be launched properly. Because like some of the games out there, like Battlefield 2042, I think of that one, and man, that one was bad design, buggy, servers didn't work well, crashes. Man, was that game frustrating. Like, and even after 6 months, it was still a mess. The maps weren't good, so again, they had to take like a whole year and a half to actually make it good. And by that time, I don't care anymore. And a lot of other people didn't either. So I'm hoping for the next Battlefield to actually launch well. But this is what we should be asking from these companies that make, you know, that have hundreds of millions or billions of dollars that publish games. It's like, hey, actually make your games worth making, like worth playing. Same with Madden and NCAA and FC, and like EA games are too generally horrible. They don't launch well. But yeah, pretty much all of the studios at this point, like compared to what used to be made, they make shit. I will put it that plainly. Okay. Yeah, Call of Duty Warzone Mobile. This is kind of a mess. But yeah, they're going to be shutting down after a year. Now, this was a really big push. They were excited. Okay, Call of Duty Mobile was doing really well, but yeah, Warzone is just, it doesn't have enough engagement. So Activision says that it's not meeting expectations immediately. As of right now, you can't buy currency. There's no updates that are going to be coming. You can no longer even download the game. There are still a few servers up right now, but eventually they'll shut them all down. Yeah, COD Mobile, that's still going really strong, I guess. But all of these, it sucks too, because all of these microtransactions, all these MTXs, they're basically just going to vaporize when the servers shut down. And this is another thing with live service, is that if the game flops or fails, you don't get reimbursed for microtransactions. Never. Or to like Destiny, it can be taken away from you. It's like, what? Right? Like, I don't know. Some of these practices that some people defend, I think, is just crazy. And yeah, again, this is another reason why I hate live service. All those microtransactions. If the game flops, if you've been investing in it for roughly a year, and it's just bye, and all of that money is gone. And it gets tough now for people too, because the inflation, people trying to keep and maintain jobs, or actually working a job that they're qualified for, not being underworked, which is also horrible, because then you're just not making enough. You're making enough, okay, but you're not making enough to afford everything that you actually need, especially with a family. And that is just incredibly difficult. So, but yeah, that actually sucks. But yeah, to actually see a microtransaction game actually disappear, I think that's great, because again, most of them are just to get your money. They're not trying to provide a unique experience. They're just using branding power or just the gameplay loop to try to get your dopamine flowing, so you can just, hey, spend money, baby, because you want that skin. So I'm glad it's dying. Rainbow Six Siege update for this is actually coming to Game Pass. This was another one that I thought was interesting, because the game is basically 10 years old at this point. One of the last big updates they did was actually adding a subscription service, which again is a whole nother paywalling thing behind the service, because you already had to buy the game to actually play it, right? And then there's also microtransactions, and there's grinding for stuff. and it's got some of the worst percentage drops for actually like good loot and stuff for the game. And then yeah, adding a subscription service on top of it, it's just like, wow, you guys are out of your mind. But Siege is still one of the most played games on console, and it's probably fairly healthy as well on Steam charts. But yeah, I just wonder again, is Ubisoft desperate for money? Because again, if it comes onto Game Pass and people actually play it, because basically then it becomes a free-to-play game for all the Game Pass folks. Every hour that's played, Ubisoft is going to get paid by Microsoft. And if it continues to get played, they'll continue to get revenue. Now, Siege is the actual game that has made them the most money, but I would actually like to see some actual like Rainbow Six Siege games too. I think that would be wonderful to see that. But yeah, Siege has made like 1.3 billion or 1.5 billion. It's made a ton of money. It's made a ton of money. But again, you also got to have more games that are actually making money, and each game needs to be able to sustain itself. So, yeah, Siege, we might actually try it out. It's pretty tactical, pretty challenging, pretty unforgiving. So, yeah, I know I'm going to suck at it, but yeah, we might actually try it for the channel here because, yeah, it's actually going to be free. Let's also talk to you about Star Wars Hunters. This was another mobile game, and again, this is also shutting down on October 1st. The game launched back in June of 2024. It's basically going to run for just over a year. And as of April, the in-game purchases are disabled. You can't buy them anymore. And the idea is that it was like a third-person arena team shooter. But yeah, the arenas too were really tiny. I mean, we're talking about a mobile game here. And again, it's just another mobile game that's just like, hey, play our stuff, buy our stuff, and it's over. Like there's just nobody playing anything. And I think too, this will continue to happen. I mean, you know, if it's a game that's at 8, 9, or 10, people are going to go out and play that game, buy that game. They're going to have fun. But again, there's also so many choices now, so many options. You just can't get to them all. And then, too, with games being expensive, that's just one more barrier to entry. So, yeah. And even games that are free to play, they're not working. Like, that should really be telling publishing companies something. That's like, look, your free to play live service games aren't making money. Like this is kind of insane. So even if they're free, there's still a problem there. One thing I do want to highlight on though is that there's a new Warzone mode that I saw. It's called Warzone Casual, and it's actually fun. It kind of got me excited and interested again a little bit. Though of course I still want to play with other people for Warzone. But roughly half of the players are actual players, and then the other half are bots. And the bots don't team up; they're just by themselves individually. They're always shooting at each other. But you know, being able to work through the map, being able to work through the environment, is that you're able to hear them or spot them, and you're actually able to get some kills. So you feel good about yourself, right? And boy, let me tell you, it is really easy to get into a match on Warzone Casual than all of the other modes, basically. And that was very interesting. It didn't take as long to actually get into a match most of the time. I could basically get into one right away. And again, these are players all the way from that have probably been playing COD forever, and these are also players that are like also under 15. But generally speaking, most of the players aren't really that great. In my personal experience with the level that I'm at compared to like playing multiplayer, I was like, well, let's actually try some real Warzone. Man, I got my butt handed big time. And then I also played some multiplayer, and yeah, that's also quite challenging too. So again, the heavy hitter players, they just want straight players only. But it's almost kind of created like a ranked mode almost. You actually have a really casual mode with bots, which is a different way to do it. But again, people are playing it. And let me actually see. Black Ops 3. Oh, here it is. Call of Duty. So yeah, there's 51,000. Let's pull up a chart. There's also 30,000. Yeah, boy, man, look at that difference. Ooh, 500,000. But yeah, it's pretty steady for right now. But I want to say this was around the time when they actually added the new season. We can usually see these spikes, right? This was supposed to be... Well, that wasn't Verdansk. That was Black Ops 6. So pretty big jump there, right? Fell off pretty quickly. And then... But yeah, I think it's interesting, though, because it's like they're changing their business model a little bit. There's definitely not enough players. There's not enough engagement. So they're changing their business model some to keep the players engaged and to keep them buying. And I just think this is interesting because it is more fun. It is more casualized. It's making something for the players like me that aren't super good. It's and or worse, and it's making something that everyone can kind of just jump in and just be chill with and just have a good time. And you still feel like you get somewhere. And what is cool is like all of the players toward the end, like eventually all of the players wipe out all the bots, right? And then so what you have left is a consolidation of the best players for the session, and they're all duking it out in like a couple of buildings, and finally somebody wins. So that's kind of cool. But you also get closer to the end, so yeah, you feel good, even though you're not a good player, and most people probably know that. But like you feel good playing Warzone casual, and I wonder if having bots in multiplayer is going to come back because that actually used to be normal. I mean, you had that with Killzone, you had that with some other Call of Duty games, or Medal of Honor, whatever. I mean, is that you could actually put bots in and actually just play and practice with tactics or learn the maps and all of that stuff. And yeah, I wonder if bots are actually going to come back. And not just for Call of Duty, but we know bots have also been used, hush hush, for a while in Call of Duty, but also with some other games too. But now this is very blatant. It's just like, yeah, casual mode. Have fun. And that might be the one thing that actually has some players come back. And it might actually keep players engaged more often because that is one of the issues. People that are hot and sweaty and just that's what they do. Ultimately they push everyone else out because the other players, they can't compete. And if you can't compete, it's not fun. So you don't play. And that's bad for live service games. Otherwise, the companies are going to go broke. So, yeah, I just thought that was actually quite interesting. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Marathon here. So, Paul Tassi has actually reached out to a few devs at Bungie after we learned about the plagiarism incident with Marathon, which they're still scrubbing, by the way. But apparently, morale is at an all-time low at the studio. And the studio has already had layoffs. A couple, I think. Some have also already left to go form Team LFG so they can work on Project Gummy Bears. Others have also gone and been integrated into SIE to also work with other studios and work on other projects. Destiny 2 has also had roughly a 45% drop in gaming revenue year over year between 22 and 23. So yeah, that was already a few years ago, which is crazy. And yeah, I'm sure they're still continuing to see that revenue drop. Also, Destiny 2 Final Shape sold less than Lightfall did. And people hated Lightfall. And apparently the Final Shape was actually pretty good. But again, not as many people actually bought it. So that was kind of surprising. So N2 players have lost confidence with Destiny, with Bungie. And even after all of this, the morale is still lower. Because again, you have Marathon, this new project that people are not excited for. You got this whole plagiarism issue. There's just some basic things for the genre, for an extraction shooter that players should feel like should be in there. And again, we have another studio publisher that is fighting them on that. And it's just like, I don't understand that. It's like, look, your player base is right most of the time, like 95% of the time. Your customer that is handing you money, they're right. Because as soon as you start telling them, no, you're wrong, you don't understand, they're just going to go somewhere else. And there's tens of thousands of games out there. So yeah, what is going to make people play your game? So yeah, my morale would be, I'd probably be hopping ship by now, actually, if I was over at Bungie. Because yeah, this is the whole, it's bad. It's really bad. But also with this being said, Marathon actually, we found out too, from someone, I guess, from the inside, so with a grain of salt, but Marathon needs to be in the top 5 sales for 2025. And it's like, okay, you guys are planning to launch at the end of September, so you have 3 months until Christmas to basically make all of your sales for people to pay money for a premium product that has a plagiarism problem, doesn't play how they want, doesn't have certain components, and again, a casualized extraction shooter doesn't really exist because the genre is not built or designed that way. And it's like, you got to be in the top 5 of sales. Are you serious? Arc Raiders, it's already number 10, on the Steam wish list. Expedition 33 already sold over 2 million copies. Split Fiction sold over 4 million copies. The next Call of Duty, good luck. Doom the Dark Ages has over 3 million players and still growing. Oblivion Remaster, same thing. Tons of people playing, tons of people bought it. There's Ghost of Yotei in October, right after launch. There's Borderlands 4 earlier in September. There's Ninja Gaiden 4 later this year. There's Assassin's Creed Shadows, which already sold over 2 million copies. Probably going to sell some more as it gets a little cheaper. There's also Battlefield 6 later this year. It's like, okay, how are you going to outsell these when your game looks like that, your game plays like that, certain features are missing that players want, and you're fighting them on it, and then the competition looks better, and then you're like, yeah, pay me money. Pay me money for this. No. People feel like it should be free to play. Definitely a cheaper price point than what people are expecting, which is $40 because that's what Concord cost. Again, it's under the same Sony umbrella. But it's like, yeah, how are you going to be in the top 5 of sales? I mean, just Forza Horizon 5 launching on PlayStation sold over 1 million copies. I don't even think they're going to get 500,000. I don't even think they're going to get 250,000. I'll say that on the record. I don't even think they're going to get 250,000. I think what we're going to see with Marathon is ultimately we're going to see it launch. It'll be evaluated by December after the first quarter, 3 months, and they'll basically either make it free to play in January or they'll shut it down. And if they make it free to play or they shut it down, I think that's resulting enough to actually have more layoffs at Bungie at best, or the whole team gets taken over basically by Sony. They can't be independent anymore, or the whole studio dissolves and the cream of the crop gets infused into the other studios at SIE. I mean, that's ultimately what I think is going to happen. I don't think Bungie can survive this. Bungie is already a former shell of itself. I think that's really apparent to a lot of us at this point. Excuse me. And it should be. I mean, we definitely should know that at this point. But yeah, I don't even Marathon will get close to selling in the top 10, in the top 20, in the top 50, top 100 even. I don't even think it's going to get there. I think they sell basically 250K, and people that are still playing Tarkov, they're going to keep playing because, again, it's not the type that they want. People that are maybe excited on console, they're going to go to Arc Raiders. And people that aren't even interested in the genre, they're just going to continue to play COD or whatever they're playing. So yeah, Marathon has a really big problem. And then it's like, are they even going to delay it? We still haven't heard anything. As far as we know, it's still going to come out on September 23rd. It's like, man, good freaking luck. And then we also heard that it was suggested by the devs in the studio to actually make a PvE mode. That's what I was hoping for. Same with Arc Raiders. It's like, I want PvE in there. Now, Arc Raiders, I think, does a better job than Marathon does at this point. Because you actually have proximity chat, and you can work with teams, and you can go fight a big robot, and you can all get killed anyway. Which is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, the leadership again said no. This is just another example where, again, they're entire, you know, that I mean, Bungie has made their entire reputation on PvE with a PvP element for multiplayer. And that's what they've done with Destiny, right? That's also what they've done with Halo. There's always been campaigns, there's always been a co op focus, and then what the frick is Marathon? It's totally going the wrong way. It's not what your audience that you've built over time is expecting. You are a multi-billion-dollar studio developer, and this game's probably going to sink you. It's just nuts. And two, this is just another example of AAA leadership dictating the genre, dictating what should be done, and just killing their game before it's even out. Suicide Squad, Starfield, which didn't die, but it didn't sell as much as it was maybe hoping for long term. There's definitely a lot less player engagement, and then Starfield 2, I don't think players are coming back. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. Let's take a look at Steam charts here, because again, I'm just curious. Starfield, the game. Yeah, there's not even 4,000 people on. It's got a score of 56. Holy crap. Look at how much that has fallen. That's shocking. Look at that. Peak was 330,000 players on Steam. Little bit of a blip for the DLC. Okay, we went from, for those of you that can't see, roughly 8,000 to 22,000. Okay, and then yeah, just fell off again, and that's it. And even devs now are like, even some of the modding community is just like, yeah, we have a project, but people just don't have the passion. They're done. They're quitting. And if we can't get more people to help us out, we're probably just going to have to sunset the entire mod. Oh my gosh. And then again with Marathon, it's just like, man, we're just running into another example of AAA leadership just messing up. I mean, as long as it takes, baby. If it's got to kill some major studios and kill some publishing companies along the way, so be it. The customer is freaking right. And they're trying to gaslight us to death by saying, oh, well, you're going to like it. No, we're not. We're going to get into this, but it's going to be a long episode, isn't it? We're going to get into this when we start talking about $80 games. Because again, it's just like, man, you guys are nuts. Or like, hey, Veilguard's successful, woohoo. It's like, no, it's not. If the director leaves, that's not successful. If you had layoffs, that's not successful. Now they're making Mass Effect 5. Boy, they better. Yep. What are the expectations? What do people want? They don't want any form that can be construed as DEI. They don't want it to be, quote, woke and perceived that way in any way. They want it to be a masculine game, a masculine hero they can get behind, or create multiple options. Okay? Just give the player base what they want. It'll sell. Have your devs play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. Recreate that. The blueprint is literally right there. But man, again, if the leadership doesn't allow them to do it, yeah, I don't know what the heck's going to happen. It sucks. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Marathon. But yeah, I think less than 250,000 copies. And I think it's done. And yeah, if I'm wrong, I'll eat my words. Sure. But yeah, Bungie's going to be a nuke going off. I mean, again, if we thought Star Citizen is big, is going to be a nuclear bomb, I mean, Bungie would be like the Tsar Bomba. Be crazy. 62 miles away, you're still getting third-degree burns from the radiation. I mean, it will just be a massive bomb going off. And yeah, if it's necessary, I'm here for it. Again, I don't want it to happen. But, man, this leadership, they need to figure it out. And if they don't on their own, then we can force them through our wallets. And that's the great thing about capitalism. You have choice. Well, let's talk about the Oblivion remaster. So I did a review earlier. Pretty good, right? Did an initial look. One of the biggest issues that I had was actually performance, and come to find out it's actually worse than that. So let's actually watch this from Digital Foundry.
Performance testing is where we face the game's most glaring problems. Before we kick off, it's worth stressing that console frame rates are affected by many factors, like the variable weather, dynamic time of day, NPC and enemy positions, and so on, all of which are out of our control for exact tests. Surprisingly, and on top of that, 60 FPS performance also degrades with continuous playtime on PS5 and Xbox. For example, a completely fresh boot of the game, that is, closing the software, reopening it, and loading a save for the first time, will give you an often significantly higher frame rate when compared to a playthrough that's been running for 15 minutes or more. Traveling between areas or cycling through multiple save states is an easy way to overload the engine and tank performance. This is true of all console platforms, where matching routes through the world can run at up to 20 frames per second better on PS5 Pro at points using the fresh boot. Likewise, Xbox Series X and base PS5 have the exact same behavior, with a freshly booted save giving consistently higher readings compared to a charged playthrough, with more continuous playtime behind it. Curiously, cycling through saves also introduces bugs in the charged playthrough, and so the Lumen GI setting appears to change, resulting in thicker shading across the scene at times, which may well explain the performance difference here. And secondly, you may have noticed, it also leads to the camera position being too high while riding on horseback, where both of these issues are very fixable by simply resetting the game. All of this does suggest a memory management issue. On hindsight, a correction is due then for my previous console coverage, where I concluded that the hotfix improved Series X's 60 FPS performance. On retesting though, it's become clear that the hotfix run only actually benefited from what we've just seen, a fresh boot up of a ready-made save, while the previous test had more continuous playtime behind it. Ultimately, the issue of poor frame rates remains with or without the latest hotfix update on PS5 or Series X, and your continuous playtime is the bigger factor in how the game performs. Supporting the theory that this is a memory management issue or a memory leak is that all consoles crash after a while. After booting the exact same sequence of save points in a row, PS5 and PS5 Pro always freeze at a matching point, taking you to the console front end. On Xbox, we have the exact same issue after loading a save, where it bluntly ends the process and takes us to the Xbox menu. Tellingly, reloading that problem save point will suddenly work after a fresh boot up. In summary then, crashes may not affect everybody, but this does suggest that time and engagement with the game increases the likelihood of it happening.
So yeah, ultimately pretty interesting. I mean, I definitely got to revise my score a little bit. And while I didn't notice, well, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I can't be sure during my review on my Xbox Series X of actually seeing the performance getting worse. I did ride my horse a lot, but again, I didn't notice my camera much. Maybe I didn't play long enough during my sessions. I only played them for maybe 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. But this too is frustrating. It's like even the performance issues that they had using Unreal Engine 5 just looks really unoptimized, and then also having these issues on top of it with the save file, memory issues, and then just your gameplay and performance getting worse over time, as well with the camera while riding on horseback and other things. I mean, some of these things they are working on fixing already, which is great, but yeah, it's going to take a while to actually work through all of this. And the game could have been delayed. Absolutely. I mean, it was shadow dropped. It didn't have a release date. They could have done that, but they didn't. And again, I feel like, again, it's just people generally want their game to run and work well when it's actually released, especially when they pay for it. Now, with it being on Game Pass, it does feel like, hey, I didn't necessarily pay for it. I'm willing to give it a little bit more of a slide. But even with all of the issues that the remaster has, I still think it's a testament to how good the gameplay is and allowing you choice and allowing the interactions that you can experience. One playthrough is never exactly the same like the other, and like it is still an incredibly fun game to actually play through and explore. And you do see the repetitiveness, but again, this is a game that came out in 2004. We're talking 21 years ago now. Or was it 2006? I think it was 2006. So 19 years ago. And it's just incredible on just how well done the game is for back then. And it's like you think 19 years from now, like we could just absolutely create something totally mind blowing. But again, we got to focus on resolution, and that's where all of the resources go. Which, yeah, again, which sucks. So, but yeah, they should definitely change this. I'm changing my review score, knowing that information. Again, it's just like it should have been delayed. So yeah, this is and those performance issues, if they get worse over time, I was already having a horrible time after just starting the game, really, and getting out of the sewer after Septum died. And that, yeah, those frame rate drops of 30+% were crazy. Um, yeah, I was getting down to the 80s, sometimes high 70s in some spots from 120. It's just like, what the heck is going on? And it's just like an instant drop, so that sucks. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Definitely, I'm continuing to play and enjoying the game. You know, just having a fun time. And I wish more games were actually like this. The only thing I wish was co-op. Man, I think that would be so fun. Just save the world together. And I really think we should have more games like that. I think they would actually sell really well. And I think Helldivers is an example. I think the Legacy of Destiny is another example. Just again, the cooperativeness and yeah, just having a good time is really what players are looking for at this point. Okay, let's also talk about NVIDIA. Man, this was pretty disappointing. So we're finding out that they're trying to control and actually manipulate reviews of their cards and stuff. So Gamers Nexus has chatted about this. I actually got a video. I will try to remember to link this down below. If not, yeah, Gamers Nexus. It's pretty recent on their channel. They got 1 million views on this already. So yeah, it's getting a lot of traction for them. But yeah, they actually talked about what NVIDIA is actually doing and about how they're wanting reviews to be done in a certain way on their channel. Which is manipulation. And this is crazy. And so, yeah, NVIDIA is even thinking of threatening to remove access to the employees at NVIDIA away from Gamers Nexus, trying to like strong arm them into doing what they want, presenting things how they want. And while even if the small changes are small, it's still manipulation. And we should want genuine reviews across the board for everything. And when there's bias, that should be stated in reviews, right? Like I did for my Oblivion one. I enjoyed the game so much. It was my first real RPG. So yeah, that's special to me. Oblivion is a special game. So yeah, I definitely have bias for it. But yeah, we want reviews to be as genuine and as real as possible. Because again, the reviews should be seen as not a way to make revenue or sales or whatever. It should be seen more as like, look, this is what it is. Is it a good fit for you? That's for you to decide. Thanks for watching. I mean, that's basically what a review should be, right? And NVIDIA is threatening that. So yeah, this sucks. But yeah, thankfully Gamers Nexus is holding their ground. I think some other review channels will too. But this does call into question all other reviewers. And if too the reviews are real. We did get to hear too in the video that someone else had been approached a few years earlier. But now this is actually starting to get out there and starting to become public. Yeah, this isn't going to look good for NVIDIA. And I'm sure NVIDIA in some way will push back on each individual that wishes to stand for what's right and actually having real reviews on their stuff. But yeah, this is not good. It's the same thing with like Digital Foundry having just like a recopied push of Legend of Zelda Switch 2 edition. It's like, man, what are you guys doing? Like, you don't need Nintendo's money. And maybe that wasn't even their call because they're technically owned by Eurogamer. But yeah, how disgusting was that? It's like, guys, man, you guys damage your reputation. Like, that is the end of that. So, Yeah, I hope they never do that again. And it's the same too with all of the other channels that do reviews out there. It's like, think about your audience and what they expect. And the biggest thing right now is genuineness. Okay, they want things to be real. They're tired of the legacy media, the news, the reviews for stuff just being garbage, okay, being manipulated. And again, I understand why companies do it. Um, it's it's easy to fall into that trap. But again, eventually the truth does come out too, and it's uh, it's pretty insane that this is happening. So yeah, not only is Nvidia lying about their new 50 series graphics cards, that their drivers aren't stable and a mess, and even making some of their cards defective, at the factory and not even catching it, I guess, or just trying to cover it. Now they're wanting to control views too. So yeah, I wouldn't trust Nvidia at all. Um, that's disgusting. Yeah, I guess I should say I'm not surprised. But again, this is incredibly frustrating. I mean, they are a multi-billion, tens of billion-dollar company, right? They might even be hundreds of billions, probably. I mean, they're the biggest manufacturer out there. They already have the majority of the market, and it's still not good enough. Like, they just want to have a monopoly over what's shared, over perception of their product, everything. And no, like, that's corruption. Okay? That's disgusting. We want to have as much clarity as we can. And again, the audience should be the one to make the decision. I mean, that's what we all want, right? The ability of choice, not the illusion of it. So yeah, this is pretty disgusting. Let's talk about $80 games. Oh boy, this getting old. So Nintendo announced, of course, that some games will be $80. Okay, like Mario Kart World. Some of their others are going to be 70. Some of their editions are also $80, which is just nuts, like Legend of Zelda. But we also found out too that Xbox also announced first party at $80 coming this Christmas again, which is just no, no, don't do this, please. And then the lead for Borderlands 4 said that the game could also be $80, though he doesn't know. But something that he said is that real fans will find a way to pay $80 for the game. It's like, dude, you didn't have to say that. Like, you could have just said it's not up to you. The publisher's going to decide. We've made our preferences known, thinking about the player base, and we'll see what the price is together. Ta-da! That could have been it. But no, they had to say that real fans will pay $80, or if it was 90, real fans will pay 90, or 100, or whatever cost they deem price tag they deem for their product. Again, just it's the same freaking thing as USA Nintendo with Bowser. Just like, yeah, I mean, if we think the value here is high, then yeah, we're gonna just charge more. And again, companies can, but people can also vote with their money. Look at the movie industry right now. Oh my word, or Disney for Pete's sakes. I mean, they're losing tens of billions of dollars on their projects. When you put it all together, it's pretty wild. And I think the gaming industry is having pushback on this too. But yeah, they're just gaslighting you to death. Just being like, hey, yeah, you love it. You do love it so much, you're willing to pay $80. When we already know, which I need to do a video on this too, but like we already know from Newzoo and some other companies that report on gaming data and statistics and do analytics, it's like, look, the majority of players already play old games. The majority of people that spend gaming revenue on live service games are people that are the whales. But again, if you even just tick off the whales, or if you make the prices go up too much too quickly, more people are going to tap out. But it's like video games are for the middle class, for the masses. And I think we almost need to have like a reset for people that are big and rich, for these companies that have so much money. They need to have a reality check of what middle class is. Because it's basically somebody that makes like 50K a year. And yeah, with everything going up and wages never keep up, okay, that's a losing fight. So quit wishing. It's not going to happen, okay? But yeah, again, these companies, they need a reality check of what their consumer base can actually afford. And it's like, to think that you can just tell your audience to pay whatever price you want, like Nintendo, like Xbox, and like the creator of Borderlands. It's like, man, I really hope there is a wake up call for all of these companies. Now, the out for Xbox is they have Game Pass, and they haven't raised the price on that yet. I've actually started buying more Game Pass at cheaper cost a little bit, not by much, but I'll buy some every month until I'm basically maxed out for 36 months, and then I'll just keep it renewed, and I can fight price increase whenever it happens in the future, which I'm sure it will. Absolutely, I'm sure it will. I mean, good grief, if Call of Duty costs $700 million to make every year, oh my gosh, that's getting out of hand. Might even be $1 billion now. Who even knows? But yeah, this whole $80 thing is getting crazy. And, you know, there's tariffs. Okay, yes. There's cost. Um, but good gravy. I mean, and we did find out too that development cost, like Borderlands 3, was about $140 million. And he was saying that it's over double the production budget for Borderlands 4. So it's over $300 million basically, or around 300 million to actually make Borderlands 4, which is crazy. Yeah, again, this is an expensive game. This is actually more expensive than Suicide Squad, or almost as expensive as Concord. So, yeah, the math shows that in order to cover the budget of 300 million, they need to sell 4.2 million copies at $70. If it's $80, they still need to sell 3.75 million. Excuse me. So yeah, still it's only 11% drop of how many copies they actually need to sell if they sell for 80. But I think more people are going to say no if it's $80. It's going to be more than 11% of potential buyers. Maybe it's 15%, maybe it's 20%. Maybe it's more than that, just being like, nope, I'm going to play something else. I'm going to enjoy Game Pass. I'm going to enjoy PSN Premium. I'm going to enjoy what I already have. Whatever. I mean, you're going to have to go get a second job just to play video games. Yeah, this is getting nuts. And again, Take-Two, they were the first ones to make games be 70. And now, all within 2 months, we have Nintendo, Xbox, and now looks like Take-Two Interactive all saying, yeah, $80. Man, you've got to be kidding. Yeah, this is disgusting. And yeah, the reason to think that I think they're forgetting is that Valhalla was actually Assassin's Creed Valhalla was $60 at the end of 2020. And now we have $80 at the end of 2025. I mean, that's a 33% increase in just 4 years. Am I right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, no, 5 years. It's early in the morning, folks. That's my excuse. But yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. So yeah, $80, it's here to stay. Okay, again, if enough people buy it, they will continue to do that. But I think, too, the more the price actually goes up, there will be some people that will pay for it, yes. But I think we will also see faster and sharper discounts. Because, again, if you're raising the price and more people say no, and you have less buyers, well, then you're not making enough. So you got to drop the price to sell. Remember, you only drop the price when it's not selling. That's what a discount shows you. But yeah, that's pretty insane. Also, Yoshida, ex-lead at PlayStation, for 38 years, basically his life, says that folks shouldn't complain about $70, $80 games compared to other forms of entertainment with how much they've gone up. Now, yes, compared to other forms of entertainment, $70, $80 is maybe a pretty good value with how much time you can get out of a video game. I agree. What I don't agree with is saying that people shouldn't complain about $70 or $80 video games. Yes, we should complain about $70, $80 video games because they cost too much, because they're buggy, the servers don't work, they're incomplete, okay? They don't tell a good story, there's no character development, the script writing is trash. These are common problems with AAA. And it's like, look, if I'm paying a AAA price tag, I want a AAA experience. But instead, the AA's, the indies, they're doing a better job, so that's who gets my money. Or Game Pass, again, because it's a heck of a lot cheaper. It's $240 for a year, and basically now at $80, if you buy 3 games, guess what you're spending? 240 or $240 a year for 12 months for Game Pass. And yeah, with 3 games a year at $80, you're spending $240 as well. So Game Pass, bunch of games to play, not own but play, or just 3 games. I mean, yeah, this is getting wild. I mean, think about an Activision game, a Take-Two game, and then let's throw in another one there that's $70. It's like, da-da, there's your Game Pass. There's your Game Pass cost. And the amount of stuff we've gotten on Game Pass lately is crazy, just in the last 3 months. I can't keep up. It's impossible. And there's stuff for my wife to play. There's stuff for my kids to enjoy. I mean, that's just, if it's not on Game Pass, oh well. We'll just wait for a sale, wait for a discount. We actually did shopping last night. Bought some games for my wife. And we bought them on sale, which was great. I mean, that's what we're going to wait for. It's on Game Pass, cool. If not, we'll just wait. And I think more people are starting to do that too. Again, these people are going to wait for those sales. Because, yeah, $80 is just too much, especially when we don't even really have 5 years between $60 to $80. It's just nuts. So, yeah, this is getting frustrating. And $80 games, it's just going to accelerate toward a crash, which I think eventually we're gonna have. But yeah, the silent majority of gamers, they're pulling back. They already don't buy at launch. They buy at discounts. The majority already plays on PC or Ultimate, so that games can ultimately be cheaper. And $80 is just going to price out more people, ultimately. And then the $80 games, regardless, don't run good. They're poor, can't get into the character. I mean, it's just, yeah, there's nothing else to say. But yeah, these leads at these publishers, man, they just sound out of touch completely. Even Yoshida. Again, I understand what he's saying. It is more hours, it is less dollars per hour for some of these games, even at $80, than, let's say, paying for a fishing trip, going to the coast, going to see a movie. I mean, we paid $80 to see a movie yesterday. Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, it was expensive, but you know, when you got 4 of you, you got tickets, and then you get some food, there you go, $80. And yeah, that was an hour and a half. $80. And it's a lot of money. I would rather buy a video game we could all play, right? Because we get, like Minecraft, we get more enjoyment out of it. But still, even Yoshida, he sounds out of touch. Just like, yeah, you shouldn't complain. It's like, yes, we should, and people will. And when the complaints aren't heard, they will shift over to behavioral changes like waiting for a discount. And here we are. And I do think that will happen. So I will be keeping track of what Borderlands 4 is going to do because I'm curious myself. Let's continue on. We got news yesterday, today, that SteamOS is actually basically like Linux now. It's open source. It's available. This was SteamOS 3.7 version, but now you can actually download it on anything that's basically an AMD device. Not Intel, probably not going to work too great, but basically anything, yeah, that's AMD. So any of the other handhelds or whatever, which is pretty crazy. And again, probably not Apple, but yeah, that's really surprising that Valve has actually done this. Because, yeah, their SteamOS, it's always been locked and held close to their chest and trying to be competitive, right, as an exclusive. But again, I think Valve is feeling the pressure from Game Pass because Game Pass is literally just flooding everywhere. You can shove it on your TV, you can shove it on any phone, any tablet. I'm pretty sure you can already buy versions with Game Pass on there or Xbox app. And then, of course, your console. And then also all of the content, if you want to buy each one individually, you can buy the games on Steam, you can buy the games on PlayStation, and even some of them on Nintendo. So literally, it is going everywhere. And I think Valve is feeling the pressure, wanting to work on getting ahead on this. And so they've released SteamOS basically as kind of an open source available. Just you can click right on their website and just download it right there. Download the operating system right to your device. There's probably some nuances about it. But from what I've seen, it's actually pretty easy. So if you're curious on how to install it and actually how it works and what it looks like, you can go to Some Ordinary Gamer, his channel, and just watch his video. I'll try to remember to link that down below. So yeah, it's not just on Steam Deck anymore. You can now basically put it wherever else. Again, whatever device you have, you can have SteamOS. And Xbox is putting out a handheld that runs on AMD. There you go. I mean, we're going to have our Xbox Steam thing. And, yeah. And now Xbox can play PlayStation. Yeah, the console war is over. And again, Nintendo is just going to be over out there by itself, enjoying its exclusivity against nobody. Yeah, I should probably make another video on this. But yeah, SteamOS actually going public, basically being free. That is not a move I expected. And so now we have two. We have Xbox and Steam out of the four. That's now like, yeah, just take our operating system, shove it on whatever you want. I mean, this is happening in real time. It's pretty fascinating. Last piece, Space Marine Mastercrafted Edition. This is actually a remaster of the original Space Marine 1, which we got in the 2010s. And the Crafted Edition is going to come with the base game and all DLCs and cosmetics built in. It's not going to be extra whatever. It's just going to be one price. That's it. Enjoy the product, which is great. It's going to be 4K at 60 frames. It's going to have improved character models, which, yay, thank you very much. I wish Aspyr had the time to actually do that with their games. Star Wars would be so much better. It's going to have modernized controls. It's going to have an interface overhaul from the original. And then it's also going to have remastered audio. We're also going to be seeing 8 versus 8 multiplayer. And this is also going to be cross-play. So that's great. This is coming out on June 10th. And also on Game Pass on day 1. We also got Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. That's coming out in July. A couple of months, actually, before Ghost of Yotei. So that's probably good for Wu Chang. Because, yeah, I think Ghost of Yotei will be a really big one on PlayStation. And also on Steam. But, yeah, that's the news this week. Sorry for almost an hour and a half. I won't take any more of your time. Thanks for tuning in. Gaming Garbage 22 YouTube. Don't forget playlists. Also, don't tread on thee on Twitch. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I'll see you guys on the next one.